All right, what's up, guys? Thanks for joining us. This is The Fight's Life. We're going to be doing a live Q&A tonight. Wanted to hang out with you guys, and you guys can ask me any questions you like. They could be about the last two videos I posted. I did a back to Cali trip video last, and then the one before that, I did how to set up a bike for freestyle motocross. I'm also going to be staring at the phone here. So you got to send in your questions in the comments, and I'm going to be reading them here. But two questions. So two videos ago, I posted a video, how to set up a ramp for freestyle moto. And there was two questions that were in the comments that I wanted to hit on because I thought they were really good questions, and I didn't touch on it in the video. So one of the questions was, oh, and let me just say this before we get started. We had some difficulties with my phone. My phone would not let me do the live, so I had my phone charged. I was ready to go, and it wouldn't let me do it, so I had to grab my wife's phone, and I'm using her phone, but her battery is super low. So I'm planning on trying to go 30 minutes, but I don't know if she has 30 minutes of battery. So if it cuts out, it's the end of the show because she wasn't planning on me using her phone, so she didn't have it charged up. So if it's some reason cuts out in the middle of this just because her battery died, sorry. But we're going to be doing a lot of these, so we'll jump back in on the next one. But anyway, I want to pick up on those last two questions. It was on the video, how to set up a ramp for freestyle motocross. So if you haven't seen it, go check it out. But two of the questions, one of them was, how much run-in do you need for the ramp? And I was talking about having a freestyle ramp set up at 75 feet, which is a standard gap for freestyle. So I hit up Mickey Diamond. Some of you guys might know who he is. Mickey Diamond is a legend in the sport of motocross, 125 national champion back in the 80s. But Mickey he's been there since the beginning of freestyle motocross. I toured all around the world. Every major tour I've done in freestyle, Mickey was our, I guess you would call him like our sports organizer. He was like in charge of setting up the ramps, in charge of getting the guys where they need to be. So that dude knows what's up. So I sent him a text today, and he actually just called me to say what up. And we talked a little bit. He said 65 feet from where you turn to the bottom of the ramp is like standard. Doesn't mean you can't jump the ramp in less distance. Doesn't mean you can't have more distance. But 65 feet is a very safe, easy distance, standard distance that he would, when he was promoting a show or setting up a show, he would tell the promoter, hey, we need 65 feet of run-in, 75 foot for the gap, and then the run out as well. So 65 feet, and that is, like I said, to the bottom of the ramp. So you got to think, you actually have 85 feet because the ramp's 20 foot. So you're going to, if you measure from the turn to the bottom of the ramp, 65 feet, but if you were to measure to the very top of the ramp, it would actually be 85 feet. So I wanted to answer that because I thought that was an important, good question on ramp setup. And another question on ramp setup was people kept asking, how much dirt do I need to build a landing? And man, honestly, I had no clue because I don't know. Like when I built my landings, I just had people come in and just dump all this dirt into my backyard. I didn't buy dirt by the yard, so that's why I don't have no clue how many yards of dirt I had. I just had truckers come in and dump dirt for free, and they filled up my backyard, and I, rented some loaders and hired my buddy to build my landings. But once again, I hit Mickey up about that, and I even texted another dude who built my speed and style track, Randy Meninguez, and I hit him up. And they built numbers, but I'm just going to give you guys a ballpark. Mickey was saying if you build, 14-foot tall landing, he gave some good specs. He's 12 to 14 foot. I had a 14-foot one, but 12 to 14 foot, he said. He said a 30-foot landing. So a 30-foot run out, not your run out once you hit the ground, a 30-foot like downside. So a 30-foot downside, a 10-foot deck, 12 to 14 foot high. And then Mickey even said like building like the edges out so you could jump it straight or you could transfer onto it. He was saying for a landing that big, it's like 1,000 yards of dirt, which is a ton, because Meninga gave me a completely other number that was half of that. He's like, you could do 400 and you could build a landing with a good deck. So if you probably wanted to just do a good deck with a standard landing, you probably could, if you need to order dirt, I would just start with 400 or 500 and then you're probably good. But if you're trying to go all out and have the big deck with the sides built out so you could transfer left or right, probably go with a little bit more. So 400 to 500 on the low end. If you want to go all out, maybe get 1,000. And another thing I wanted to touch on, because people are like, where do you get dirt? So if you don't have dirt to push up, one of the things I did in California was I seen where the guys were digging pools, and I just drove up to them and say, hey, do you need to get rid of that dirt? And the pool guys were like, yeah, like, because in California, they got to pay to get rid of that. So the pool guys were pumped to drop the dirt off at my house for free. And the word got out, and they dropped all, dude, I got, my whole entire backyard was like 2.5 acres of just where my course was. They filled that thing up within like 2 weeks. It was full of dirt. And I ended up building a huge, I bought multiple freestyle landings. So that's one place if you don't want to pay for dirt, you might be able to like look where the guys are digging pools. Or here in the Midwest, they dig basements. So that's another option. You might be able to go look where the construction's going. And I don't know if it's free here. I haven't built a freestyle course here in the Midwest, but you might be able to go to where they're digging basements and building new construction and say, hey, you need to get rid of that dirt, and be able to get some. Because, you know, not everybody has landscape where they can scrape from and get free dirt. So if you need to get dirt, 2 options right there that could be helpful. So anyway, so let's jump in. There were just 2 things I wanted to touch on. I thought they were good questions. And so let's see what's up. So we got a lot of people here. So what's up? Dave, Travis, Alicia, Robbie. Yo, thanks everybody. My wife's even watching in. All right, so let me see here. All right, what is the best way to get into X Games for best trick? Okay, so the best way to get into X Games for best trick is, I believe these days, like X Games is tough to get into because they only take a certain, it's been invitation for a long time. They actually used to have a qualifier to get into X Games a long time ago. And then it kind of just went all invitational. But I believe so, if you want to get in, you really have to submit a video. And so if it is best trick, you need to submit whatever trick you're trying to do. You need to submit that to the event promoter. And the event promoter would be Eric Prenard for motocross. And he does all the disciplines for Summer X Games. So if you want to get into Summer X Games, look up Eric Prenard and DM him. Look him up on Facebook, Instagram. I'm sure he has all the social media stuff, and DM him and get his email from him, and then say, hey, you know, here's my trick. And then you're going to have to send them videos, and then they're going to look at your trick versus the other guys. And then if you get in, you got to have a good trick. That's the thing. It's super hard because everyone's doing such an hard stuff, but it doesn't mean you can't. So the only way to get in is to send a video and hopefully get picked, because it's slim pickings. I think in best trick they're only taking like 5 guys, maybe. I don't think it's 10 anymore. I think it's like 5. Best trick you got. So I'm rolling down. That's what I'm just reading questions here. But let's see, whatever. This dude said, "Have you ever heard of Chinese spare ribs?" David K. Yes, that's from a Bruce Lee movie. I know the Chinese spare ribs. That's a joke, but it's cool. Get an extension cord hooked up to your chart. We tried to. We only had one. Me and my wife talked about that, and it wouldn't work. We were bummed out that the new iPhone only has like a single. We couldn't plug 2 into one. We tried. It didn't work. Eric Davis. So this is my buddy. What up, dude? What is my favorite part of riding? So Eric actually lives out here in the Midwest. He's a part of our church and stuff, and he shoots photos of me. So Eric Davis, probably seen some of the photos he's taken of me. So my favorite part of riding is probably riding. Like, I just love to ride. At the end of the day, years old, and I fell in love with it. It was my favorite thing. I played every single sport possible, and I quit everything but karate. It was the only thing I didn't quit when I started racing was wanted to still do karate, but I quit baseball, quit football, quit wrestling, quit soccer. Said, I'm done with everything. I'm just going to ride. I fell in love with it, started racing, and I really haven't. I mean, I was blessed enough to make a career out of it, but even today, as I'm now retired and not competing, I have more fun just riding the track, just riding my bike, riding trails, just being on my bike, doing what I love. That's what I enjoy the most. It's just, I think I love it so much because when I'm on my bike, everything else in the world doesn't matter no more. It's like this place that I can go. It's just me and my bike. And, you know, I can forget about whatever's going on in life. Nothing else matters because you get focused. It's like, it's all about, like, moto's like all about the moment because that's all you got. You're really focusing on what's happening at that moment, whether you're riding freestyle, whether you're racing the track, whatever you're doing, you're in the moment. And I think that is a good place to be. Because if you ever, I heard a person say this about kids. Did you ever see how kids, they live in the moment? Kids have fun and they're in the moment. And it's, that's true. It's like when you live in the moment, sometimes you have some of the most fun days. And so it's just a love of riding. I don't think I'll ever grow out of it. I've been riding for over 30 years. And like I said, I'm having more fun now than I've had in a long time. Just not having the pressure of competing anymore and just actually being at the grassroots of doing it for the exact reason that I started doing it, for the fun of it. So let's keep it moving. Let's see here. So let's see. I'm trying to hit everybody's ups here. All right, so Travis, was you nervous the first time you hit a freestyle ramp? Man, that was so long ago, dude. I probably was, for real. I guarantee you I was. That was a long time ago. But let me just say this. So yeah, I would say yes. It was a very long time ago. I can't remember where the first ramp that I even jumped. Dude, actually, you know what? I think the first ramp that I actually jumped was on the Warped Tour, and I was nervous. I was really nervous because no one ever, yeah, you know what? Now that I think about it, that's the first time I jumped ramp to ramp too, I think. Yeah, I was nervous. It was sketchy, dude. But that's normal. Anytime you're hitting a jump for the first time, whether it's on the track, whether it's a freestyle jump out in the hills, a ramp, different gap, you always get a little nervous because that's the kind of excitement of riding. That's the adrenaline I think that we get hooked on, that we like love, because there's that in between, like, okay, I think I got to go this fast. I don't want to go too fast, but I don't want to go too slow because I want to case it, but I don't want to go too long. I want to go to flats. So then you're in between, and then you do get nervous. But then when you hit it and you grease it, you're like, you get pumped, and then you're super excited. And then that cycle continues over and over throughout your life. And I think that's what's so fun about jumping jumps. It's because they make you nervous a little bit, and it tests your skills and it tests your fear. Can you rise up over the fear that you're feeling at that moment? Trust in the abilities that you have and hit the jump smoothly. Maybe go a little short, a little long here and there, but you dial it in the next time. If you're off the first time a hair, the very next time you hit it perfect because you can adjust. So I'm usually nervous. I think a lot of guys are nervous if it's not like a standard freestyle jump that you jump all the time. Like when I lived in Cali and I had my freestyle ramp in the backyard, I didn't get nervous to go jump the ramp that I've jumped a gazillion times every morning. But if I would show up to a freestyle event and, you know, the ramps are at different distances and there was different ramps, now I'm like, okay, you definitely get the butterflies, but that's normal. And I think that's what makes it fun. And that's why I still do it. It's probably why I never got sick of it, because it's always made me a little nervous. All right. Ring ding dong, David K. Mel. All right. We're just going to keep on moving down. Are you all stood up? Yes, we are still connected at the International House of Prayer. My wife still is doing stuff over there with IHOP and CVETS. Everything's on hold right now. Prayer room's closed. CVETS is locked up. There's no classes. IHOP is down. It's just we're all on lockdown. So yes, we're still connected over there at IHOP. So this is my boy Maddox, my buddy. I work out with this dude. We ride together. This dude's cool. You should come ride and text my dad. All right, let me know, dude. I'll come ride. He's got a little local track. Actually, I'm planning on doing some schools at his track. So come, if everything works out right, I'm going to be doing FMX, Ronnie Faisst Motocross. I'll be doing private to semi-private classes, no more than 5 people. I want small classes. I want to be able to spend time. And I'm actually going to, if everything works out, I'll be doing them at Maddox's house on his little personal track. And my other buddy has a track well, so I might bounce back and forth just to mix it up. My other buddy has a track. But both of them are in Kansas, and they're going to be semi-private classes, like I said. And I'm hopefully kicking them off in May, and I'm going to do one a month from May to October during the warm month. So if you're out here and you're looking to get better and improve at your riding skills, I'm going to have a website set up. You'll be able to get all the information. So I'll be talking more about that as we get closer to next month. But what up? Shout out to Maddox, and thank you, Jeremy, his dad, for letting me use your track to do my schools. I'm from Overland Park, but now living in Temecula. Oh, sweet. That's crazy, huh? Wait, you're from Overland Park, but now you live in Temecula. That's pretty funny because I've lived in Temecula. Now I'm out here in, I think some of these people were talking to my wife on here. All right, let me get to the questions. How do you overcome fear after injury? That's a good one. How do you overcome fear after injury. And I believe it's a mental thing, because at the end of the day, the body heals. The body is miraculous how the body can rebound from injury. For the most part, the body heals. So overcoming the fear is a mental thing. It's something that you have to overcome in your mind, and just it really goes away. Like, I think everyone who's been injured, it's a time away from the bike, it's a time off. There's been times I've came back from injury and got on my bike and it felt like I never missed a beat because I was so excited to ride, and then I was like, okay. But there's been other times I've come back and I felt that fear that you're talking about and had to overcome it. And it's a mental thing. It doesn't mean that you've forgotten how to ride your bike. You have the same skills that you always did. You didn't lose what you know how to do, but in your mind you're hesitant because you know what the injury is like. You've been through the pain, you've been through the surgery, you've been through the recovery, and you don't want to do it again. And you're like, man, that wasn't fun. So now you have this little like hesitation, a little bit of fear in your mind, and you got to overcome it. And the only way that I've learned to overcome that is you can't let your mind think negative. Like, if you start thinking, what if, get rid of the what ifs, and you got to think, believe and trust in yourself. No, don't let your mind wander off into the what ifs, and just so control your thoughts and one thing. But the best way to do it is to just get on your bike and ride through it. Because that's how I got through. I had some major injuries at the end of my career. I tore my ACL. It wasn't even a year later, and that's a 6 month injury. I was off my bike for 6 months. Came back from that, I broke my femur. Then I was out for 4 months. Came back from that, I tore my other ACL. I was out for another 6 months. But at the end of those 3 major injuries, I was dealing with that fear. And the only way I could overcome it is what I kept having to block out the lies and the what ifs and control my thoughts, but I had to ride through it. I had to get back on my bike, feeling nervous, and just push through it and ride. And the more that I rode, the fear, the nervousness went away, and then the confidence started to come back. So sometimes you just gotta ride through it and shut your brain off a little bit, control your thoughts, ride through it. Believe in that you can do what you can do. You know, if this is what you do and you can ride, then trust in the skills and the abilities that you have, and don't let all the worry and the doubts take you down. Because it can. I've seen a lot of guys not come back from injury, and it's not because they're physically unable to get back on the bike. It's because mentally, they lost it in their mind, and that's true. It happens. It's tough. The mental game is definitely real, for sure. That's why I'm voting for Roxton to win the championship. I'm so bummed that the Supercross championship got put on hold, because I want that dude to win. Because look at the story. Like, how many top dudes have you seen come through that type of trials, you know? The injury back-to-back, the 2-year gap before he even won a race, and then to come back and win a championship? I know it, dude, that's so hard, and not it's very hard for someone to do that. So that's why I'm rooting for him. Not that I don't like some of the other guys, I'm just rooting for him. I personally think he's the sickest dude out there, style-wise. He's bad. But that takes true heart, true dedication, overcoming fear, overcoming setbacks. That's champion stuff right there. So I really hope he wins. All right, so let me keep moving on. Will there be a class in Cali? That's coming from Alicia. And I'm open to it. If I go to California, I'm definitely might do that. I might say, hey, I'm going to California, and might throw up a post and say, I can meet you guys at Fox Raceway and do private lessons, semi-private lessons, small class. Everything's going to be small. We can do one-on-one. We can do 2 riders, 3 riders, 4 riders, but I cut it off at 5, no more than 5 people. So yes, I'm open to teaching in California at Fox Raceway when I'm out there, 100%. Another one, let's see. I will send can you sign my mentally, Dave K. I can definitely sign, I don't know how, but if you see me, I'll sign anything you got. Mentally Twisted is a DVD I did from back in the day. I can definitely sign that. We got another one here. Where do you get your ramps? So I'm assuming, because she says Disslers, so Alicia, Am I saying your name right? I hope I'm reading that right. I'm terrible at reading. If I'm not, forgive me. It says Distler, so I'm assuming you're like from Arizona because the Distlers are from Arizona. I actually got all my ramps from, I bought my ramps so long ago. I bought my ramps from the original dude who made, they were called free ride ramps. So that dude built my, I believe his name was Jeff. Jeff built all my ramps. And I had them like my entire career. Bought those when Jeff first started free ride ramp technology, and I had them from ever. So that's the only dude I really got ramps for. I think I bought one off of Deegan once too. I did. I got an old one off of Deegan once. And then I had my ramps my entire career and didn't sell them until I decided to move to Kansas. So, and a lot of people ask me, where do you get ramps? And I think they're hard to find, to be honest with you, especially here in the Midwest. I just recently was at a friend's house here, like 45 minutes south of me, and he's setting up a ramp. They were working on it today, and that's the only guy that I even know anywhere around here that has a ramp. And I know there's a few in Oklahoma, but that's 5 hours away. So I know in the Midwest there's not a whole ton. In Cali, it seems like the pros have them. Fitz has ramps, Potter has ramps, Deegan has ramps, I had ramps, Matto has ramps. But other than that, I don't know of anybody else that has ramps. There might be a few other guys that have a few stashed, at their little spots, but they're not set up everywhere. They're not like at your local. Paula used to have them, or Fox Raceway used to have a place set up where you could go ride the ramps at the track. But that's a great place to set up your ramps, because people were like, well, where do I set it up? If you have a local track and you can find a ramp, I would talk to your local track guy and say, hey, can you build me a landing? Can I set up my ramp here? And just chain it off. Don't let nobody else ride it. Say it's going to be for me and my buddies. And so if you don't have land, because that's what makes it tough. Like, where do you learn freestyle if you don't have a place to ride? There's no freestyle setup, and you don't have your own property to build it at your house. I would start at your local moto track and just talk to the owner and see if they're open to it. That's actually where we started. The original freestyle course for Metal Militia was built at Lake Elsinore Motocross, and that's what Deegan just hit the dude up and was like, hey, can we build a freestyle course here? And the dude was cool with it. We built a freestyle course, we gated it off, and it was only for the militia guys, and only like 4 or 5 guys could ride there. But it gave us our first training facility until Deegan bought a place on land. And then once Deegan bought that house in Temecula, because we used to live in Canyon Lake, just in a neighborhood, we didn't have nowhere to ride. But once Brian brought that house that had like 3 acres, then we moved everything to that piece of property. And then that became the training ground. And then I eventually bought my own place and built up my place. And then everyone started building places. So Temecula became the hub of freestyle. It was like there was gazillion, 4 or 5 different pros that had courses. It was a very good place to ride if that's what you were doing for a profession at that time. All right, so let's move on. What else we got? Anything else? Favorite tour? All right, so my favorite tour. Oh, Wipey's coming out.
It's frozen.
It's frozen?
Is it still frozen?
Oh, no. Is it the battery?
I'm wondering if it is. Hold on. It just says 20%.
Okay.
Wait, now you should be fine.
Are we back on? It froze.
It did.
Wait.
No, it's fine now.
Well, it's frozen on my side.
Oh, it's still frozen?
Sorry. The battery dropped down to 20%. It locked it up the screen. So I hope you guys can still hear me. But let's just do a couple more and just end it before the phone dies and we lose all this.
Well, you got 20%.
We got 20%? All right, so favorite tour. Hey, get out of here. Wifey's out here sticking the dog in the shot. Favorite tour. Man, I had some fun tours. Man, that's hard to pick because they were all fun. And man, what was a cool, I'm going to say I loved them all. They all in their own way were really fun, and I have great memories from all of them. But one of the cool tours that I did was the Tony Hawk tour, and what made that tour unique from all the other tours, it wasn't just a freestyle moto tour. It actually had skate, it had BMX on it, it had Moto. So BMX skate Moto. So which is cool because that's the first tour that I did outside of contest world. Obviously, X Games Do Tour has all the different events, but as far as being on the road with those guys was cool because it's like mostly I'm on the road with the Moto guys. So it was cool to go on the road with Tony Hawk. Dave Mirra was on that tour. Kevin Robinson, Chad Keggy, who is my neighbor. Funny, right? Lives right up the street from me now. But that tour was just cool to get to know guys from different sports. So I really enjoyed that. But they were all fun. I could talk forever about tour memories because just that was that was fun stuff. What else? What do we got here? Let's see. Are you come up? So this is Travis. Are you and Twitch going to come up with any more skits like the one you did when you told him the 250s? But he had it. So yeah. So Travis is talking about a video. Was that in my video? I can't remember what video that was in, but that was in an old video. We did the 50 skit, and we basically acted like we were robbing Temecula Motorsports, and I'm like, yo, go get me 250s. And the cops really showed up to that. Like, I don't know if anyone ever caught on to what happened in that skit, but we were filming a skit and we were just acting like we were robbing this local shop, and I told Twitch just get me 250s. I told him to give me a 250 and he ran out with 250s, 250 cc's. Yeah. That's what it was. But while we were doing that, somebody drove by and saw all these dudes. We had like leotards, like stockings over our head and fake guns. And someone drove by, thought we were really robbing Temecula Motorsports, and called the cops. Well, the cops rolled up on us and like seriously drew their guns out and were like dead serious. They were like, we're not joking. Like, get on the ground. Like they were like, you guys are idiots. When we told them, we were like, we're just making a movie. We're making a skit. They're like, you guys are idiots. They're like, you guys could have got killed. So that was funny. Lucky we didn't get shot for trying to act like we're robbing 50s, 250s. But so to answer your question, are we gonna do any more skits? I don't know, dude. Like, I don't know. It's kind of hard to do skits, and I live in Kansas with him, and Twitch is getting old, dude. He's still funny, but he's getting old. He ain't as funny as he used to be. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so what else we got? All right, so Eric again. What is your favorite terra firma or motocross movie? Oh, that's a good one, huh? Favorite motocross movie or terra firma? Man, there's some good ones too. I always liked Wrathchild. That was made by Troy Adamitis. Wrathchild was just a cool. Troy is just a sick filmer. I don't know if you guys ever watched The Great Outdoors, and I think he filmed a lot of the Fox videos. You would have to look to see. He might have had something to do with terra firmas and stuff, but I know he made Wrathchild. I just like that. He's really artistic, and he's just really cool with his edits. So that was always one of my favorite ones to watch. But I would just say you can't forget the Crusties. The Crusties is what set it off. The Moto XXX and the Crusties, I'll say. When I lived in New Jersey before I moved to Cali, that's what I got inspired by. I saw the first Moto XXX video, I saw the first Krusty video, and I was like, man, I'm moving to Cali. I'm like, these dudes are out there, just looked like they were having so much fun out in the desert, jumping these huge hits. Everyone was just barely starting to do tricks, and I'm like, dude, I got to get out of Jersey and get there. So I would definitely say you can never forget the original Moto XXX videos and the Krusty Demons. All the Krusty Demons are sick, especially the original ones. The first three are probably the sickest. Because of Seth. Seth made it crazy. And then David K, what is your favorite tattoo? Man, I got so many. I mean, I'm all dried up here. I should have put some lotion on. But I got the Jesus piece on the hand. So definitely one of the favorites for sure. It's a portrait of Jesus. I got my parents. That's my mom. My mom's name. My dad's name. I like those. I got a Bruce Lee on my shin. I like my Bruce Lee. I got the Bruce Lee shirt on, and I've been a Bruce Lee fan since I was like 5 years old. That's why I became a martial artist. Why I started taking karate, because I love Bruce Lee. So, but they're all cool. I don't know. I feel like when you have them for a while, you're just kind of like, they're just there now. They're just getting older and older. My tattoos are getting old. Like, they're just getting faded, but I guess that's what happens. You get tattooed when you're young, but by the time you get old and older, they just look old. So it's coming a day, they're just going to look really bad, and hey, I'll be that guy who's just tatted up and old, right? All right, so Travis, do you have an all-time favorite motocross bike? Oh, I just hit the wrong button. Do I have a favorite motocross bike? I can't, dude, this is, I feel like all the bikes are good these days, but I really like my Husky. Like, this thing's sick. And I ride more moto now than anything. I don't know if you ever had a chance to ride a bike, and let me just give a shout out to who's asked me that question. Now I can't find, there's so much stuff coming in, but anyway, these things are sick. The brakes on the Huskies are insane. I don't know if you ever go on one and you go to brake for the first time, you're stopped so soon before the corner because the brakes are so good that you're like, man, I can ride this thing a whole nother bike or two into the corner because the brakes work so good. And they turn really easy. They feel narrow. They feel light. So I really like my Husky. But I've liked all my bikes. I grew up on Hondas and I loved my Hondas. And I actually just rode Twitch's new 2020 when I was out in Cali a couple of weeks ago, and that thing ripped. And I'm like, dude, this thing feels good. And I even rode Cowie real short at the end of my Speed and Style career when I was just finishing up with Speed and Style. I rode Cowie, and I loved my Cowie. That's what I'm saying. Like, the bikes are really good. The only thing I rode Suzuki like for like one or 2 years at the end of my race career and the early in my freestyle career, and I was kind of like, they were probably my least favorite bike of all the ones I've owned. I've always liked my Hondas. I like my Cowie, and I really like my Husky. So, like I said, I never rode Yamaha, and I rode Suzuki for a very short time. So that'd been my least favorite of the bunch. So I'm going with Husky right now because these dudes are super cool. They hooked me up with a super good deal, and I'm pumped to have these guys supporting me. All right, so we got Aaron here. Love your stories. What did your parents think of your XMX? What did your parents think of your freestyle career early on or later? My parents are always super supportive. So I think early, like my parents were separated. So my mom had left, and I grew up with my dad, and me and my dad had grew up racing together. And my dad was super supportive through my racing career always. He's the one that took me to races, and he supported me all through my racing careers. But when I turned pro and I was racing the nationals, I wasn't doing that well. So my dad obviously was like, you're not really doing that well in the pro class, so you're most likely not going to make it. And freestyle didn't exist then. So then my dad's like, hey, you need to start thinking about getting a job and going on to college and doing other things. But I didn't like that. So that was right around the time freestyle and the crusty, well, I would say the free ride movement was being birthed. Freestyle didn't even come around yet. Free ride movement was being birthed. I decided to go out to Cali and catch that wave. And through that free ride movement of the crusties, we created freestyle motocross. And we went on the Warped Tour, and then right after the Warped Tour, X Games picked up, it became a sport. And now once my dad had seen, and my mom all through it was always like, hey, just do what you love. She's always super supportive. Do what you love. You can always go back to school because my dad wanted me to go to college. Just do what you love. So she was always, tell me what, so I had my dad like, hey, you need to go to school. And then I left, went to California. And as soon as freestyle started coming around and my dad saw that I was actually making money, he was back on board. He was like, okay, you can make money at this, you can make a living. And he was right back on board. And so I would say my parents were always supportive of what I've done. And through the early years of freestyle and all the way through, like I don't think my dad has ever missed a freestyle X Games. He's been at every X Games that I've ever been at. He's probably been at every Dew Tour. He's probably almost been to every competition. So my dad's always been super supportive. And then my mom too. I'm saying my dad's always been at the events, but my mom's always been supportive. But my dad doesn't miss many events. He's always been by my side. And he always even shows up to when we're on tour. If we do a city, and even my mom, if we come through, she lived in Vegas for a while. If we did a tour there, she would always come. So my parents, super supportive. I got amazing parents, super grateful to have them. But anyway, So we're at the 36-minute time, and that's at 20%. So let me just hit like another one here, and then we'll wrap it up because I don't want it to cut out on you guys, and then I lose all this stuff. It's been 36 minutes, and I don't know how much more stuff. But so like if I'm scrolling down here, trick advice. I'm trying to pull a backflip, Kyle Loza style. What ramp should I do and think would work best? I'm thinking a super kicker. All right, so Alicia, if you want to do a backflip, I'd say make sure you have a foam pit first off. Don't try a flip onto dirt. It's just super dangerous. Too much to risk, especially if it's not what you do for a living. Like, you know, there was guys who went for it on dirt, but that was their career. They were trying to, you know, there was purse money, and there was just different opportunities that aren't even there. Like it was in the beginning. So my advice, if you're going to learn backflip, make sure you have a foam pit. I would say yes, learn it on a popper ramp. The popper ramp's steeper, it's going to flip easier. So that's the ramp that we all learned it on, but make sure you have a foam pit. Do it right. Do it on a small bike. Do it on a bicycle first into the foam pit. Do it on a small bike into the foam pit, and then go to your big bike. But just don't go out to the hills and just wing it and think, because it's just too dangerous. Majority of the guys, the top guys, Deegan, myself, Hart, Metzger, the guys who originally like came out, they all crashed their first ones. No one landed their first. It's just it's way gnarlier than you think. It looks easy because the guys who do it are really good. They make it look easy. Any professional who has mastered the craft makes things look easy. It's not as easy as people think. I always hear, I'm gonna go do a backflip. I'm like, man, I hope you got a foam pit, because just be smart about it, because you can get really hurt. Freestyle is a dangerous sport. I mean, look what happened to Josh Hill. Thank God he has been able to make it back into racing, but look how many years he lost of his career, of his prime career, because he went out, tried to do a backflip over dirt, and got hurt and ruined his foot. But now, thank God, he's back to racing, doing what he loves. But it was a long road to get back to where he's at, and he missed out on some of those best years of his career. So just be smart. I don't want to see anybody get hurt. Trying to do things at this point, like, you know. All right, so anyway. So let's just wrap it up here. Thank you guys for joining us here on the Feist Life for the live Q&A. We're going to be doing more of these. So if you guys liked it, be sure to just give it a thumbs up. And I guess we'll see you next time. Coolio? Peace out.